Hello, welcome to Seeking Heaven, the Near-Death Experience and Other Phenomena, and TGIF. We have on Fridays live chat or live spiritual lessons, which is Seekers Speak Live. So we've got a lot of truth seekers here, and today they're going to be super excited because I have been getting so much positive feedback from our guests that we're going to have today, which is Rey Hernandez. Before we jump in, I'm going to do a couple announcements, but people have been so excited about hearing and we're going to talk more about it tonight, about the commonality of near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, spirits, spiritually transformative experiences, afterlife communications, alien communications, all sorts of different dimensions. There's so much there, how it all is related. And the fact that we have a pioneer here on today, Rey Hernandez, is so exciting. But first, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I have tons of people watching, but I need more subscribers. Subscribe, don't be shy. And look, if you're a spiritual leader, then you're at the right place, because I notice a lot of spiritual leaders, and I would consider my peers, watch this channel. And God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much. So if you're a newbie, you're welcome. If you're seasoned and you're an expert in this area of all of this, great. This is for you, because this is really... I do not simplify this for anyone. We just bring it, whatever it is. And once you don't understand, if you didn't, then that gives you something to look at and research. So subscribe, make comments. I do try to respond back to everyone. If not immediately, I do. And also October, we're going to be having some fantastic people to kick it off. We have Rey Hernandez. We have, which Rey recommended, Mary Rodwell, amazing. I was totally impressed with her. She is called the Alien Lady from Australia and has worked with abductees as well as indigo children. Very fascinating. We're also having Fiona Van Rensburg, who is a Pleiadian, who talks about the Pleiadian and our true cosmic history, as well as does a live DNA activation. Y'all, it doesn't even work on me. I've already had 3. I've already seen my body on 7 other planets. I'm like, they don't teach this in the Bible Belt, but woo, good stuff. So that'll all be happening October, as well as I have Joey Cook, who is a modern day werewolf hunter and a cryptid researcher. Now, he's not hunting it to kill it. He's hunting it to find out the existence of this. And he has a huge team with canines and all this. It's very fascinating. But it's basically a werewolf. It's called the Dog Man. It's scary as hell. I can say hell. That's the only thing I can say on YouTube, but it is. It's very frightening. So we got a lot of really cool people, and also a surprise guest to talk about how to cross over spirit. So it's not a scary October, but it's a fun October full of excitement. So today's guest, let me talk about that real quick. You already know him, Rey Hernandez. He just did an incredible 2-hour exclusive interview. People watched the whole thing, which is unheard of on YouTube. They saw it from start to finish because it was so good. They just can't get enough of Rey Hernandez. Rey is a UFO experiencer, as well as an experiencer of many paranormal things, which he's going to tell us some stories tonight, hopefully. He just finished, he co-authored a book called, and he has 2 now, A Greater Reality, The New Paradigm of Non-Local Consciousness, the Paranormal and Contact Modalities. And he has a new book out that he's going to talk about tonight as well, and about the greater consciousness. And he's also the director. He's the founder and director of Contact. I want to make sure I say this. It's Contact and Consciousness. Hold on just a minute. I want to make sure I do his title correctly. Contact and Consciousness Research Foundation. So, and there's so much more to him. So let me bring him on. Yay, our guest.
Nice, Tamara.
Oh, I tell you what, people are blowing up like crazy. Yes, it started and we are here. So I'm going to, people already saying hello to you. We've got a lot of people that are in the chat. Hi, Susan, Aaron, nice to see you. Anna Gonzalez, she was also on here. She's a near-death experiencer, and she also works with Raphael. She didn't know it was an archangel for years. I think it's so funny. She called him Raffle. She didn't know. Just wonderful. Been working with horse therapy with her heart, and she has 2 things on here. She's also a love leader. So hello. And then yes, it started. We are here. And then Adriana, also a love leader from California, who absolutely loved your exclusive interview. She said, "My God, this is exactly the kind of stuff I love." So I'm glad we are in the right direction. So hey, we're back, and people want more. Right?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm more than happy to talk about my journey, how I got here, and what I'm currently working on, which is a mixture of academics that are interested in this topic and experiencers. Um, just let me know what direction you want me to go. That's the
Sure.
title of
Yeah.
our new book, which is going to be published on December 1st, is titled A Greater Reality, The New Paradigm of Non-Local Consciousness, the Paranormal, and the Contact Modalities. And this is a book that's going to be having it's going to have 4 volumes. It's going to have more than 1,000 pages in 2 volumes from academics, and also another 1,000 pages from experiencers talking about their own individual experiences. And it's quite different from what other people have been presenting, because we're going to be arguing in our book that consciousness is primary, that our reality is not what we think it is, that we're actually living inside a greater reality. And this has been an ancient concept, from the Vedic tradition, Buddhist tradition, Greek, Roman, Middle Eastern, and even a lot of shamanistic cultures. So this is not a new concept. And also modern physics, quantum physics has been talking, many of the pioneers of quantum mechanics stated that consciousness is primary also. So we're going to be highlighting that. And we're also going to be highlighting that all of what we consider the paranormal, and what we in our organization call the contact modalities, that all of this phenomenon needs to be studied and seen and viewed as one phenomenon instead of separate and distinct phenomena.
Yes. And this is where you're groundbreaking. And I just did a little title for you here. I want to make sure this showed up. There's so much more. Your title is so long, but the fact that you are including this, because I think we had talked before, probably privately, I told you, there's many near-death experiencer friends that I have. And I started this summer, I started asking them, because I think I met you around the summer when we had the Spiritual Awakenings International little spotlight thing.
Yes,
and so I started asking my friends, you can call it, I don't know if it's a little study, but I did. I said, have you had any, well, first the paranormal, stopping batteries, spirits, that's pretty normal with NDEs. And some people have psychic or mediumship abilities. That's not to say they may get it in part or full, doesn't mean they know everything automatically, but they will get some of that. But I asked them about the UFO stuff and, what would you call it? Interdimensional communications. Not only did they say yes.
Look at that.
I asked the ones that have been to the higher levels. Do you know what I mean? Versus just popping up, coming right back. Yeah. Okay. So higher levels, I don't know, the freaking galaxy, being in front of, beings of light, that kind of thing, or more, whatever that. But some remembered being, I haven't gotten permission, so I can't say their name because they're pretty well known. But they said, yeah, they remember. Actually, they leave it out when they give talks.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Yeah, they do, because I didn't come out till you did it, Ray. You brought me out, and since I've met you, I'm now having contact with UFOs. Oh God! All right.
All of these are triggering mechanisms. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Oh my God!
These are consciousness-based phenomenon, and once you open your consciousness up, all of a sudden you just start getting more and more and more. People have had near-death experiences. My goodness, they don't talk about seeing ghosts and spirits, but I don't know what the percentage is, because I don't think anyone has ever done a study of that, But the near-death experiences that I've spoken to, and we have many that I've written chapters of our book, almost everyone has seen a deceased person, okay? But yet you go to the IONS annual meeting, the International Association of Near-Death Studies, and you talk to some of the leadership there, and they'll say, what does, ghosts and spirits have to do with near-death experiences? And I'm like, what? what does out of body experiences have to do with near death experiences? I'm like, what? But
Everything.
yeah, but this is the problem of all these different fields. You go to a UFO conference, they'll say the same thing. What the hell does UFOs have to do with near death experiences, with out of body experiences, with people seeing ghosts? And we went to myself and Dr. Bob Davis, who's a retired professor of neuroscience. We wrote two academic papers, and one of them was for this academic organization that's been studying out of body experiences. So we spoke to the leadership, and they were like, they invited us to speak there because of the parallels between out of body experiences and the UFO contact experiences, but they still did not accept that these need to be studied as one phenomenon. That they still viewed it as two separate and distinct phenomena. Yes, they are distinct. They have their own borders, but the way to view both of these phenomena and all the other paranormal is they have so many commonalities between them, and the experiencers have the commonalities as well.
Well, you're the one, I guess the first for me to hear this, and some of you are hearing it for the first time. I mean, there's levels. It's kind of like someone who plays a guitar. If someone picks it up now and then, well, they're probably going to suck, but they may, or let's use a piano. My dad always play White Christmas. I mean, that's the only song he knew. Okay. It was limited. So there's people that might have, does he have an ability? Yeah. I mean, I can't do it. So yeah, of course he could. But is it like, oh, I don't know, a Liberace? Probably not. So there are levels of what people get and the frequency and the energy, and I guess how big and how wide your portal is. Actually, we're a portal connecting to other portals and dimensions. We're multi-dimensions, so it gets complicated. But I first heard about it with Dr. Von Kaysen, who then I got involved with Spiritual Awakenings International. I love the fact that, and also the Seeking Heaven channel is an affiliate member, and I love the fact that they're experiencers for and by experiencers, because in other places, no offense to your researchers, because God bless them, we need them. And we have a lot, we've had a lot of researchers.
We have half of the academics in our group are experiencers themselves. That's why they got into it in the first place. Who in the hell want to study these things?
Well, exactly. But like you, or they've taken their medical training and they've switched it toward more of this kind of phenomenon.
Yeah.
But I love that, because then I started seeing this connection of everything. And then with you, I don't know why we would want to separate these things. And the other thing is, this is funny that here we'll talk about, hanging out with Jesus or being with beings of light or floating in the Milky Way, but we're not going to talk about that. Oh, I went to, Orion and I hung out, and actually my family members are not from here. They're from wherever and that actually was told with two of them. Like, I remember where I'm from and the constellation. And now that I did the DNA activation, me too, but I think a lot of it has to do with you. You got some mojo going on whenever you're, and I think it has something.
I do have a couple of friends that are experiencers that tell me the same thing. Like with this one woman, she hadn't had experiences like in 20 years, and then all of a sudden, she's one of the co-producers of a documentary that we're doing. Her husband has the formal training in cinematography and video, and he's produced like 12 Star Trek documentaries. But the wife is a major experiencer, but she's been, toned down for like 20 years. So we started meeting and interacting in Florida. All of a sudden, she started hearing voices. Wait a second, I'm getting a voice. It was like, here's a message, and she wrote it down. It's like all the time, when I'm with her and when we talk on the phone, she starts getting all this information. And so what it is, very similar. Let me explain something.
Yeah, do.
After I interacted with that huge UAP, which is another word for UFO. Okay,
mothership. This is a mothership of an episode.
Yeah,
Did you like the name of that?
Yeah, this is a huge object. Okay, for about the next, I would say year, at least a year. Okay, I intuitively knew when I met someone if someone was a major contact experiencer. Now, I didn't know that it was a near-death experience, an out-of-body experience. They've seen UFOs, they've seen dead people, but I just knew it, okay? And that lasted for like a year. And in the very beginning, like the first 9 months, it was like I couldn't miss. It's like you're going to Las Vegas and you're betting, and every time it's a hit, that's how it happened to me. So what it is that once you've had these up close contact experiences, all of a sudden your consciousness is opened up, okay, to be able to attract people that have had similar experiences. And just like telepathy, where it's mind to mind,
Agree.
okay, it's that's what's happening. You're tapping into their energies, their information, okay, and they in turn mine as well.
Well, I think it also happens. Okay. Okay, I'll get to that point in a minute, Clay. So I think it also happens with people naturally, just relationships. Whether you develop friendships or whoever you marry, maybe there's some kind of similar patterns and energy that you pick up. But I think this is a similar kind of thing, and more of a well, I'm not saying the other's not spiritual, but spiritual level. But I could always tell who's had an NDE. But now that I've been DNA activated means I totally remember instantly. That's crazy. But yeah, I now know. I know who is a Palladian. I know who is a Syrian. I know who is an Octarian. I know who is. I'm pretty good at hybrids. I've met one that's a Lumerian, and look, I knew none of this in March. What the hell? None of this. And also who's from the celestial realm, and who works with whose teams of sets of people. I just know that instantly now. It's just
so it's very similar patterns, but Tamara, you hear that among tons of major contact experiencers.
them too. They feel it and know it.
Yeah, it's like a universal concept. What you just described and what I described, and there's so many commonalities. Like, for example, how many near-death experiencers go later on into and do Reiki healing and learn how to do Reiki healing?
Oh gosh, yeah, a lot.
A boatload. Same thing with UFO contact experiencers. The same thing. Out of body experiencers. Yes, it's like huge numbers. If you go into a UFO conference, okay, many of the people there are experiencers there.
I'm sure
they go because they want fine information, just like an NDE conference. Okay,
sure.
A lot of these people have had NDEs and they want to find out what the hell happened to me. Yeah. And you ask these people that are there, how many of you were actually got interested in doing Reiki healing and actually doing it, or actually had an interest in it? It was like you see all these hands up. Okay, so there's numerous commonalities in here, and
I agree.
And one thing that we talked about last time we were here is that these individuals have had everything in the kitchen sink. These are not just people that just had one NDE. No, they had an NDE. They also saw deceased people. Not all of them, obviously, but large percentages have seen UFOs, have had out of body experiences. And we actually did that test, that statistical study for UFO contact experiences. And what we determined was that, okay, they saw a physical UFO or UAP, what I like to describe. They've have physically had contact with a non-human intelligence, okay? But the vast majority of their experiences are paranormal in nature, okay? It's not necessarily physical in nature. They've seen a physical UFO, they've seen a physical being, okay? But that's just a tiny bit of their experiences. The rest of the experiences are all paranormal.
Well, and I think this is also, and we got a couple questions we got to answer, but just to jump in here to say this, that God, this is so good. I mean, this is my kind of Friday night. I got to tell you, this is awesome. And if I wasn't doing this, I'd be watching something that was doing something like this. So, but getting back, as far as, let me go to the questions, and then I'm going to come back to tie that in. The first one, because I don't want to leave Clay behind. Clay said, are you saying that all these experiences are derived from the same source? If so, what is it? Meaning, like, why is it that these people are, I don't know, that are all have different experiences, yet when you look at it, there's some commonality and crossover?
Okay, I think the key to be able to understand that is the concept that we are living inside a greater reality. And the easiest way to be thinking about that, for a non-experiencer is like religions. They talk about when we die, we go to heaven. Okay, that's another reality. And that supposedly is a greater reality because it's heaven. It's where, God is located, source is located, whatever. That's from the religious perspective. But these types of concepts of us living within a greater reality have been around since the dawn of mankind, and detailed and flushed out in numerous genres. And also in philosophy, they call it philosophy of the mind. What is the nature of our reality? That's been debated, for hundreds of years in Western civilization, and in the and also thousands of years if you go back to the Greek tradition, Roman tradition, Middle Eastern tradition, um, Buddhist, Indian tradition, all the Eastern philosophical traditions. They've all discussed this concept of consciousness being primary, that
Yeah.
our reality, a lot of them use the term Maya, is an illusion. Okay. This is just a temporary reality that we're living in. And if someone has ever had a near death experience, one of the major themes that comes out of an NDE and also an OBE, okay, people that frequent out of body experiences, is
Mhm.
that our true reality is not this physical reality. Okay. It's some other realm, and it's a realm that's consciousness based, because your mind can take you almost anywhere. You think about it, boom, you're there. Okay. When you meet intelligences, and there's a diversity of intelligence that people meet, okay, via OBE phenomenon and via NDE phenomenon, and the communication is telepathic. It's not you flapping your gums. Okay. And it's instant knowingness, okay, of information. And for many of these individuals, they get like volumes of information coming in. Okay. And there's like universal knowledge. So these are all information that are consciousness based information. And I could make the link with the other contact modalities as well, in terms of the UFOs and the deceased people. We can go into that as well. But to answer her question, Clay's question, is if you think of it that we are living inside a much, much more greater reality. Greater reality, and some people can describe it as we're returning back to source. Okay. Um, this is our true reality.
So this is really where how we're all connected, but we've forgotten we're connected and that whole kind of thing. But then it gets complicated because we've got, I mean, I don't want to branch off too weird too fast, but we've got this moment and this segment of time because Jesus tells me we have only moments a second of time. Okay, well, where? Well, it could be here and multiple other dimensions at the
Correct.
same time. So it gets complicated because we could multitask like
Well,
when people say they can't
yeah.
multitask, they are not telling the truth because we can do a lot of we can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, you raise a lot of concepts there. One concept is that time doesn't exist. All the physicists acknowledge that, but also the experiencers of NDEs and OBEs, they'll tell you, and also people that have had UFO contact experiences where they've been brought to other realities. Okay, which is different from an out of body experience. This is you're watching TV and then you have a figure. Like for example, my friend Alberto, who I talked to today, major experiencer of everything. You name it, he's had it, except a formal NDE. He's never had a formal NDE. But one time he was watching TV on his living room, and all of a sudden, this man, he says, "Ray, I saw Zeus." I said, "What do you mean you saw Zeus?" Well, he was like 7 feet tall. He was all muscled up. He had a long beard. He had like a long Greek tunic on. And then he appears right in front of me and he says, "Alberto, I know you've been thinking about death lately, because Alberto's 75 years old or 76, right?" And he says, "There's nothing to fear, okay? Let me show you what death is like." And gave him a near-death experience. Took him out of his
Wow.
body, floating through the tunnel,
Wow.
and he says, "When you die, you got to go through the light, into the light. You can't remain back,
Right.
And
No, don't want to do that.
yeah, and so I mean, gave him a near-death experience, and all of a sudden, after it finished, boom, he's back in his body with the TV on, and he was like, "What the hell is that?" So, but this
That's
is a man that's seen many UFOs. Okay, he's seen tons of paranormal experiences, you name it, but yet most of the people that wrote chapters for our book are people like Alberto. We have a medical doctor talking about Sasquatch before, the cryptid hunter. Okay, she's had 3 Sasquatch experiences. Okay, two of them are up close. One is like right in her face. She
Oh,
got
wow.
lost in a national park because she lived right across the street from a
Oh,
national park. Okay, and she had two flat tires. Okay, with the second flat tire, uh, she was stuck. It was nighttime soon. So she said, "Okay, I think I know how to get home." Right, so she
mhm.
starts walking home, and she was wearing flip flops. Okay, this is in this hot summer night
Yeah.
in rural Oklahoma near Arkansas, near the Arkansas border, and and all of a sudden it was like, she goes, "Oh, I'm so tired. Let me just sit down, right, and just take a break." Right? She fell asleep. She woke up. She said it was like 1:30 with this stench, this breathing right on top of her, and all of a sudden she stood up. She grabbed like a stick, and there was this huge figure that was like looking down at her, and she couldn't even see the face because the face was facing her, and the stars was blocking out tons of stars, but she saw the whole outline of it, of the figure. Okay, and she said it was Sasquatch. And all of a sudden she was, Sasquatch would be after her, and she was like holding the stick, and they would like run away, right?
Wow.
And it didn't harm her or anything. It just scared the shit out of her. Excuse me, it scared
Well,
the hell out of
yeah,
her.
yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That is crazy. Well,
But yet she's seen 12 UFOs. She's had two near-death experiences,
oh,
tons
wow.
of out-of-body experiences,
Wow.
lucid dreams, where she was taught lessons all throughout her childhood.
Okay.
After her second NDE, she began to see all these deceased people. Okay,
Oh,
and
wow.
so this is a medical doctor. She's still practicing. She's a pediatrician. She works in a hospital. So
Tell her I want
it's
her on the show. I want her on the show.
oh, she's a lovely person, but she's very, very shy. She
Oh,
was the
really?
only. I was
Okay.
the first person that she opened up to. She
Yeah,
never.
you have that effect on people. I mean, you have such a,
Alberto too.
yeah.
Alberto's never told anyone else about these experiences. He and his wife,
Oh, wow.
and
Well,
so there's tons of these major, major experiencers. Yeah, Alberto used to be a DEA agent. Okay, he
wow.
discovered that Manuel Noriega, the dictator of Panama, was bringing in drugs into the Dominican Republic. Okay, and
Wow.
he developed a sting operation to finally get him and his the the pilots that were bringing it in. You know, he has a book now. I read his book. This man is my best friend, yet he's one of the world's
Wow.
major contact experiencers.
Well, and a lot of people that watch the Seeking Heaven channel, they're experiencers of some kind. They are.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that I'm not saying I don't have newbies going, "Oh my gosh, this is interesting. Oh my gosh," because what it may do is hearing people talk like yourself, or even me when I say things, it could be that it triggers them. They're going, "Wait a minute, I had something happen to me."
yeah,
It could be that, and that's cool. But then I have people that have had lots of experiences that watch the show because they want to hear you,
yeah. Well,
because you don't stop seeking when you've had experiences.
no, no,
Actually,
no. You're always learning. You're always learning. Like, for example, I went to UPS store 2 days ago, right? I'm always talking about these things, always, okay? Because I believe everybody's got a story, okay? So there was these three young ladies. They look like college students that were working in a UPS store, right? So I'm telling them, I forgot how I introduced the topic, about what I'm doing, the research and all this and that. And I said, everybody's got a story. I said to all three of them, I said, go back to all of your family members and all of your friends and ask them, have you ever had a near death experience? Have you ever had an out of body experiences? Have you seen a deceased person, ghosts or spirits? Have you ever seen UFOs? Have you ever had, things move around the house and you have no idea, how? Well, there's one young lady, all of a sudden, she tells me a story, and she told me she's never told anyone else. Okay, and when she was in college, this is last year, her roommate, she says she's a big breasted woman, right? So she hides her money in down there, and so
God,
she was gonna
that's
go.
some country woman stuff right
She's
there.
country woman.
Oh my gosh,
So
Ray.
anyway, she was gonna go
Oh
to the store,
Lord.
do some shopping. She checked in there, and it wasn't there. So all the two other roommates were going crazy trying to find the money, right? And so they were looking all over, right? And so all of a sudden, like about 2 hours later, they right next to, standing up, was a hard $20 bill. Okay, stacked like three of them. Okay, stacked like up and down, like someone had ironed them. Right next to this object, in plain sight. Like 20 minutes later, and they were all like, what in the world just
So
happened?
that's the example of abortation, when you have money
Yeah,
somewhere else and then it's found somewhere else. And that's come up in reading. Spirit can do that. I don't know
yep,
how
yep.
they can do that. That's pretty cool. I mean, but they
And
can't do
yep.
it.
And let me tell you another one. She also told me a story. She says, when she was younger, like a teenager, she was in bed and she woke up. She said there was like a werewolf right in her room. Okay, and it scared the living daylights out of her. It was like a man with like a werewolf head, you know, and all of a sudden it just disappeared and dematerialized in front of her, and she was so scared from that experience. And I told her, I said, "Look, sweetheart, you know, you shouldn't be traumatized by that. What it did is that it stimulated you to think that our reality is not what it is." Okay, and
Right.
the scary part is part of the process of waking you up. You know, did it harm you? She said no. I said, it scared you, right? Hell yeah, it scared me, you know. But and there was
Right.
another. Oh my goodness, I talk to people all the time. They tell me
Oh
stories.
yeah. Oh yeah. And plus you have that personality, even if you weren't now a researcher, you
Yeah,
have that kind of personality where people are just going to tell you stuff.
yeah, yeah. And so I always like. I think I told you last time I was with my barber. Um, and all of a sudden, you know, the federal government's going to be releasing a UFO study soon, right? All of a sudden, the three barbers there started yapping away. They were all excited. Oh, we were talking about that yesterday. We're waiting for this federal government study on UFOs. And then I told them this is a little bit more complicated than just UFOs. And I used the title of our first book, Beyond UFOs. This is way beyond UFOs. And I tell them a little bit about it. And all of a sudden, the guy's cutting my hair. He says, I've gone out of my body numerous times, right? And then he tells me that, you know, what happened. And then he tells me I've seen orbs in my bedroom, these huge orbs, not these little tiny things, these huge orbs, right? And so the guy that sweeping the floor, the hair, you know, the other barber, because I was the only customer, he goes, that ain't nothing. I grew up in a poltergeist house, right? And so he started telling me some of the poltergeist experiences,
Oh,
right?
really? A haunted
And
house.
so
Okay.
so we had two of the barbers all of a sudden tell me about their, you know, paranormal experiences. And I asked both, have you ever talked to anyone else about it? And both of them said only close family members. That's it, no one else. So I'm the first person that's not a close person to you, a family member, that you've told this to. Yes, you're the first person, you know.
Oh.
Same thing with that young girl that was in the UPS store. She says, I've never told that to anybody, no one. And I said, but you've told me. She goes, that's right. That's weird. Why did I tell you? Right. And so it happens all the time. Everybody's got a story.
Oh, absolutely. And I have questions popping in like crazy, and I'm trying to answer them in the side thing. People are going, "You're just stirring people up." You're a good kind of troublemaker. You're my kind of rebel. I like that. So we've got a few things here. Let's go to Kelly. Kelly, she is a love leader. So shout out to the love leader members. Many similar patterns, but not the same time or place experiences. Right, like the Lemurians and celestial realm. Um, what is the question here? Let me see. Many similar patterns, but not the same time or place. Well,
And,
I don't know.
yeah,
Is it the same
let,
time?
let, let,
There is
let,
no time. I
yeah,
mean,
let me address Kelly.
yeah.
What we determined, just for the folks that don't know here, I was part of a very large group, a research group that for 5 years studied UFO contact experiencers. This was a group of academics, people with PhDs, and people that were researchers of the phenomenon. Most of them for over 30 years. So it was almost 20 people, and we wound up with we had surveys in 5 languages, and in the English language survey we had 4,200 people that took our surveys. There's 3 surveys, not one, 3 of them. 4,200 people from over 125 countries. And but anyway, to ask that question, what we determined was that these experiences are unique to you. Okay, they have commonalities, just like in near-death experiences, they have something called the Grayson scale. Okay, which are commonalities of near-death experiences. But you talk to near-death experiences, all of them are quite unique. All of them unique to that specific person, just like out-of-body experiences. They're unique to that person. UFO contact experiences very unique to that person. Um, so yes, Kelly, these experiences have same parameters, same commonalities, but they're very, very unique to the individual. And again, that gets back to the consciousness aspect of it, because we are unique personalities. We have unique missions here on Earth. And so we need unique stimulus to wake us up and to interact with.
That's true.
Yes.
We got to be shocked sometimes to be shocked into what is reality, because I think we're definitely living in some kind of a matrix, because it's not what we think
Yes.
it is. So,
That's we actually have an article by Tom Campbell, a PhD physicist, who was the guinea pig for Robert Monroe, and he's the man that coined the term out of body experiences in 3 books that he wrote in the 1970s, and so he was Dr. TC in Monroe's books. So this man
okay.
learned how to do out of body experiences at will, and for the last 40 years he's going out of body,
Yeah.
except he's testing his hypotheses, okay, his physics hypotheses. And he wrote a book, 820-page book called My Big Toe. Toe
Hmm.
means theory of everything, okay? And that's his conclusion, his analysis of the nature of our reality. And what he concludes is that we are living inside a virtual reality.
Okay, I
And
got to get Tom on. That would be awesome. I know
yeah,
some friends have had him, but that would be good for his
yeah,
perspective to explain all. I mean, this is so big.
yeah. And he does. We will have a chapter
Oh,
about his
good.
theory in our new book.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
again, we're going to have over close to we. I don't have the page count already, but
Yeah.
I'm estimating like 2,000 pages, and we're all going to put it on
It's, a,
Kindle,
it's a
like
man.
for $20. So you're going to get
Yeah.
4 thick books like this, each of them
Wow.
this thick, each of them. This is our the first book,
Okay.
Beyond UFOs. Just
Okay.
so people have an
Okay.
idea, you can see how thick this
Okay.
is. Okay, this is 820 pages. We're going to have 4 of these books, and we're going to put it on Kindle, like for $20, to make it accessible to folks.
Right. And it's a darn big book. Well, I mean, what you're doing is you're putting it out there for people and letting them judge and letting them see and letting them read the stories. We got some more questions coming
Yeah.
up. We got some more. I mean, this is so cool. This is great. All right. I do want to make a quick announcement. If you join, it could be $2.99 and up on the member. You get to see Ray later on, one-on-one, and this will be unedited. You see how he's holding back. He's like a powerhouse. So sign up, guys, if you want to see him later on. All right, that's my little announcement. Now, the question. We've got one from Forever Conscious Research Channel, and I like your content. I like you guys. Love to have you on my show. I think it's very cool what you're doing. Telling people to go to the light is not a good advice. Is how we end up being reincarnated back here. Very interesting that NDE provides us these, I guess it meant views instead of zoos. But anyway, I've got my thoughts on that. But since you're the guest, you take that.
Well, I could only say is that people get stimulated in many, many different
Perfect.
ways. You have to keep your open opinion in terms of different perspectives. This is opinions. This information that I'm relaying to is not just from my friend Alberto. This came from tons of people.
Right.
And what I was told by also a lot of people that have researched ghosts and spirits, that a lot of people that remain here on this planet are just people that have not been able to cross over. And
Right.
there's tons of people that are major out of body experiencers. They spend a lot of their time crossing people over. They find
Yeah.
these called
Right.
lost souls, whatever it is,
Yeah,
and they
that's
bring
it.
them back to source.
Yeah, we're
And
going to have
what,
someone like that on, a friend of mine. Absolutely. It's a
yeah,
special thing. Yeah.
it's a specialty. There's tons of
Yeah,
people
specialty.
that are doing that, and I know a lot of them. And what they tell me is that in order to go to the other side, when we die and stay there, we have to go through the light. And Dr. Rudy Shields, who is a physicist from Harvard, astrophysicist, he says that and the border, the extension of our universe before we get into other realities. Okay, he says you can think of it as like light, intense light, and once we're crossing over, okay, you'll see this intense light. And so that's from a physics perspective, from his own opinion. But more importantly is the experiencers, and both OBE and NDE experiencers, and they'll say that when people have a near-death experience, they go through the tunnel, then they see a little light get bigger, 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 and all of a sudden you're going into that light, okay? And all of a sudden you're consumed with light all over you, and you're like blinded, and all of a sudden it tapers down, okay? And then you could see, and you're in this other reality. And
Right.
for many people, they see deceased relatives initially,
Mhm.
or another environment. But the point is that they went into the light and through the light.
Absolutely.
So that's why I state that. It's not my opinion. I just use my friend Alberto, a
Right.
statement that he gave me.
Well, and I just have to chime in on this because I have had 6 near-death experiences.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was dead on one of them a long time. I came in DOA, 15 minutes dead on arrival when I was 5, and then honestly, I was dead in and out for 2 hours. So I know a little bit about this, and I have been to the other side a few times. I kind of like it there. To me, the light, I understand. When you go through the light, people go, oh, you go through a forgetter mechanism. Well, sure you do. But here's the thing. Creation, you got to keep creating. People that don't go on and move on. And I think that white is also a purification thing. And we are light. That's our true state.
Mhm.
So the light is the good thing. I have done a lot of crossing over. Actually, my love leaders helped me. Some of them are on here, Adriana and Kelly. And Rosemary and some of their help, we did a crossing over with someone because sometimes these things pop up and so forth. And sometimes they'll ask me, if you want to call them ghosts, they'll ask me. I don't particularly like doing it, to be honest. I really don't, because they can try to mess with you. So I always tell them, don't mess with me. I'm trying to help you, because if
Yeah.
you do, I'm going to back out of this. So I'm going to come
Yeah.
in love, but let's be nice and play by the rules, because I'm here to help you. And I'm your shot here, and I'm going to help you with this, but because they can do things. But
Yeah,
no,
correct.
but
These are these entities who've never crossed over, and
yeah,
who knows how long some of them might have been here, might be here,
yeah. Oh God,
and their agenda, part of their agenda for some of these entities is to mess with you, you know.
exactly. And they can actually touch you, and they can do other. I don't want to go into that right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
but
yeah,
that's why I don't really particularly like doing that. But the light is important with cleansing, and we are light.
yeah,
So
yeah,
to me,
yeah.
yeah, is it a forgetter mechanism? Well, yeah, because what about if you are a football player and you're like really famous, and then you come back again? Chances are you wouldn't do it immediately, but let's say you did. If you knew you were really great at it without forgetting, you would like, let's try. I mean, and so there's part of our progress to not remember certain things.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's actually a kind thing. Although with that said, I've done a lot of past life regression, but I think it's actually a positive thing and part of our soul's progress. But we've got to continue to create. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, that's what's happening. God is always creating. That's what they call a creator, you know.
The reincarnate. You know what? Let me just tell you that thank you for replying, because you're my kind of person. So I appreciate you participating. And again, you're welcome on this show. But it's a reincarnation trap. Yeah, I hear you. Look, I feel the same way. We're back on that treadmill. I have done, oh God, a lot, maybe now 400 hours of past life. And I know it's a treadmill. I get it. But that's why we're here now with Ray. And that's why we're talking about 0101. This is why we're talking about expanding our consciousness to a higher vibration. I know people keep saying from 3D to 5D, but it's really probably much higher than that. But okay, I'll stick with that. But it's basically to move us out of this game we're playing that's a lower vibration. So that will help a lot, because life on the other planets is more of our bodies are not muscle and tissue. So I get it. I get frustrated with that too. So I hear you on that. Okay, we got some more questions are popping in like crazy. Okay, here's another. It's wild once you cross over these places. The Matrix. A lot of you want to make a comment? Do a lot of people say what the NDEs that you experienced say? Wow, it was like a dream or whatever.
Yes, I'm going to be chatting with this woman, Lynn Russell. You need to be able to get
Yeah,
a hold of her.
I just had her on. She's wonderful. She
Yes,
is so adorable. She's y'all look 2 weeks ago. I had her on. Precious, precious
yes, yes,
lady from
yes, yes.
Canada. I love
Correct,
her.
correct. And she, just to tell your audience members, Dr. Jeffrey Long is one of the world's major near-death experience researchers.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's been on too. You look at his
Yeah.
thing; it's really good. He does a whole presentation. Look below.
Yes, and he's a wonderful soul, dealing
Yeah,
and kind man. And he's been running a statistical survey on people that have had near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences for over 20 years. And so years ago, Lynn was invited by Dr. Long to take a look at what people wrote out about their experiences, their NDE experiences. And he asked her various questions. And so she did like a study for him to tell him Well, I've reviewed 2,500 cases, and this is what the percent of the people that talked about this, that talked about that, whatever. So she's extremely knowledgeable about all of this. And what she told me was lots of these people wrote about reincarnation, that for many of these individuals, they just needed more work, to
Yeah.
accomplish. I know for me, my problem, I remember Raymond Moody several times. I interviewed physically at his home in Alabama. And he says, Ray, a day doesn't go by that I don't feel like I want to strangle somebody. Okay. But yet, what's the main message of
Yeah.
near death experiences? That we need to learn how to love each
Love.
other. Okay.
Yeah.
But yet, that's the most difficult topic to try to master. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. Okay.
Especially
like
with people that are difficult.
Yes. And my goodness, I mean, I think my wife is
no.
put here just to make me not accomplishing that task ever.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, look, I haven't even met your wife, and I'm going to defend her because let me just say this: you're a handful, okay? So God bless your wife.
No,
I'll take up for her right away.
It's difficult, extremely difficult. Okay, and my goodness, maybe by the time I die, I might be able to master that. Have at least a year where I don't, um, you feel emotionally like strangling somebody, but it's the truth. It's, Raymond Moody has said it. This is the father of NDE experiencers. And so if we haven't mastered that task, okay,
you're right.
Whatever task it might be that we're here to do, we got to come back and try to learn it again.
I haven't mastered it, and people go, "Oh yeah, you're loving." But hey, question: can you love a serial killer? This is where we're going with this.
Yeah.
I tell Christ, I go, look, I'm not there. Sorry, not you. Can't do that. I don't understand in my human form. Maybe when I change forms, I will. So here's another one. What about the reincarnation concept of living lives in order to learn lessons? Do you believe, this is from Clay, do you believe that the universal consciousness has a goal or agenda for us, or does it just exist? Interesting. Is it just there for us to kind of grab and interact, or does it interact with us? And what are these life lessons? Very good question.
Well, this is what it's all about. Let me give you my opinion, okay? And this is talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people. The research study, we didn't ask tons of questions on reincarnation. We just asked them a generalized question of reincarnation and what these people experience and what is their opinion of it, and whether they have any knowledge of reincarnation. So they wrote out the details, okay? So my perspective now is that everything is one, okay? There is no separation. We are all part of source, God consciousness, okay? Even now in this reality, we are a little bit of God, cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness, whatever you want to call it, okay? When we die, okay, we reintegrate back into source. Okay. Right. But yet we are individualized consciousness entities, billions, trillions, whatever, gazillions. Okay. And that's what God is made all of about. But yet inside it's all these little bits of separate entities that have a distinct soul or consciousness, whatever you might want to call it, but still integrated, with the one mind. And so I think what it is that, God or source, whatever you might want to call it, has to create, has to continue learning and growing. And the way you do that is by disparities. You have to have yin and yang. You have to have positive and negative. You have to have good and evil in order to experience the full dynamics of our reality, especially this physicality that we're living in. And that's, as a matter of fact, I just talked to my mother about that. My mother's 89 years old.
Really?
She called me to wish me a happy birthday. Today was my birthday. Okay?
Oh, happy birthday. Well, okay, everybody wish happy birthday in the chat there. We got to say happy birthday to Ray. And then later when we're meeting with the members afterwards, and we're going to meet, we're probably going to go a little, just a hair over, and then we'll meet into the special Zoom chat, which you have the link and the membership if you join. We'll sing you happy birthday. I feel
thank you
that you're here.
She was calling me to wish me a happy birthday, and I'm saying, you remember that? She said, how could I forget? All the pain, and she described all the pain and the hardships that she had and whatever. And I said, we're just here in this life. There's a lot of harshness and sadness and pain.
I
She
know.
says, but there's also a lot of good stuff. Okay. She says you need to learn to accept it and take the good with the bad, because that's what life is all about. And so we were just discussing this right now with my mother, and
Your
she's
mother's
80,
cool. She's a cool.
89 years old. and
Wow.
and she has a little side story. Maybe later on I can tell you a little side story. And
Oh yeah, I love your stories. I could listen all day long to
oh,
your
and I need to tell
stories.
you about Alberto. He did have a near-death experience. He was jumping off a bridge in a river that was leading into the ocean, right at the harbor of Havana. And then all of a sudden, a current took him out, okay, into the ocean, okay. And he was swimming,
Scary.
and you never swim against the current, right? And he was just getting tired and tired, not moving anywhere. And all of a sudden, he just went down, right? And
Mm.
so at that point, he was thinking about his mother who died giving childbirth. Okay, and his father, he never knew his father. He kind of knew who he was, but he just departed after like 3 months after he was born. And so at that point, he started thinking about his mother. So he yelled out to his mother, who he had never seen because he died when he was like 3 months old, and to God, right? All of a sudden, he says he was consciousness while he was underwater, this whole time. All of a sudden, he was lifted out of the water, okay? And then once he got out in the air, then he doesn't remember that. He was totally unconsciousness. Then he woke up all the way on the other side of the 6-lane road that's in the harbor, okay, in Havana, all soaking wet, okay, and and he stood up and he acted like nothing, he just went to his
Wow.
with his friends back.
So you think it was his mother in spirit when whoever else actually floated him up out of the water and took him out?
I've heard 3 stories just like that. Okay,
You know what? And
three
someone, I
stories,
can't say
water
who it
stories.
is, but someone who's been on this show that y'all don't know about, but I can't
Yeah.
say their name, said that I can't, yeah, but so you don't know who this is, but they said they had a bad time in their life. It was one of the, what a dark, was it, whatever, it was a dark moment. Things were going badly. They encouraged this. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be removed off of the thing, but they were part of this, their demise. And they were standing on a chair, if you kind of get the idea, painting a picture here. And Spirit literally picked them up off the chair, undid the whatever, and brought them back on the floor. Levitated. This is a big person, very heavy and big person, and levitated them off the chair. I've heard people showing up at last minute, pulling people out of fires. So not that
Oh
we
yeah,
want.
yeah. Like for example, this woman who ran a UFO conference in Portland, Oregon, and I won't state her name. Okay, she told about her near-death experience, and she said that she was swimming. There was like 20 people that was caught in this riptide that brought
Wow.
everybody like way out, and like 2 or 3 people died that day. That they weren't able to rescue. Okay, and with her, all of a sudden she went all the way down. She said all of a sudden, okay, this person looked like one of these Palladians with blonde hair, blue eyes, all
Right.
skin tight blue suit, was swam over and grabbed her, okay, and picked her up, and then again
Wow.
brought her to the ocean, right, and then dropped her off in the sand, okay, and then all of a sudden, like she was recovering, and then she took her like a minute or two to recover, and then she looked up looking for this guy. She couldn't find the guy, so a lifeguard came to her and says, "You okay? You okay? Let me help you." And then she says, "Where is that man in that blue skin tight outfit with the blonde hair and the blue eyes? I want to thank him." She goes, "There's no lifeguard like that. No one's dressed like that in the beach. And so, and then there was another lady who was the sister-in-law of Alberto. Okay, she's a nurse. She practiced in the pediatrician's office. The pediatrician who told me about her own NDE. Okay, look at that. Look at the connection here. Okay, so anyway,
Wow.
I'm telling her about this thing with Alberto. About drowning and being pulled up. She goes, "That happened to my husband," and her ex-husband. Her ex-husband was swimming on the beach. All of a sudden, he was like way out in the water. The water took him, okay, and he was like got super tired. He was still swimming. He didn't go down. He didn't die, but he said all of a sudden it was like a dolphin picked him up from the back, and by his butt, and like brought him real fast into the sand and left him there. and then he turned around and nothing was there, and he didn't swim in it at all. Okay, it was like something brought him there. And
Right.
this is a woman that's a nurse. Okay, that's telling me all this, and this is the sister of Alberto's wife. Okay, and so and there's like 2 or 3 other similar beach experiences like this. Okay.
There's a famous book, and I don't know if you know this, and I have to my mind's because I've got a lot going on with people talking and this and that, but I can't think. Oh, Ann Archer. She has a book. I forgot the name right now. Forgive me, but she wrote, and I actually know her. I read. I didn't know who she was. I was like,
Mhm.
I was trying to get testimony and say, hey, do you mind if I read you? And she was, just give me your book and sign it. And I was like, this sounds very unintelligent. And it was. But what was funny is that I didn't know it was some famous person. Whatever. She goes, sure. And I read her book. I was like, oh my God, I love her book. Her whole book. She was saved by 3 dolphins picking her up in the ocean. She was drowned. She was going to drown. She got further out. I think she was in Hilton Head. And then sharks were swarming around her. This was a bad situation. And the dolphins just got her, like, they got around her and they zoomed her to the shore. Also,
same story.
Same story. Alien. Let's see, aliens. Yeah, she has a lot of the whole book. Her book. I said, when are you going to write the next one? This is fantastic. But what I love about it is it was not too weird for me. I thought it was beautiful because it showed the synchronicities, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Is what do you think as far as synchronicities? Because my life, I hide it, and you're really encouraging me. I don't want to cry, but you're encouraging me to even be more honest. I'm not trying to be dishonest, but you got to understand. I was raised in the South. It was ingrained in our brain to not talk about stuff. Okay, so I'm just trying to get out of that behavior, and I do try to do that. But the things that synchronicity and the crazy stuff, I just don't even really.
Well, we talked about this. We talked about this off the air last time we spoke. Okay, and you and I know that almost everybody's got a story. Okay,
We do.
and what I do is like going into UPS. I start a conversation. Getting my hair cut, I start a conversation, and what that does is here I get people telling me stories of their own personal lives, of their paranormal experience that they never told anyone else. Okay, but that's what your show is so important, because it stimulates, it brings these things out, because these things are quite normal. Okay, years ago they used to get the kid with the child with the crazy experiences. They made that child into a shaman. Okay, they put them with the shaman to be trained. Okay, why for? To predict things for the tribe in the future, and to perform healings for the people that were sick in their tribe. Okay, to do Reiki healings, what we can now call Reiki healings. And so this is all part of our ancestry, of our culture, of our upbringing, but we've been taught to keep our mouths shut.
Right.
And that's not the way to go. Now, there's certain people as like and others that we know that are major experiencers. These are people that their brains is not concrete. Okay, it's like sponges, little sponges. So everything is filtering in. All these experiences are filtering in, and these are the people that we're going to have in our book. People that have had everything in the kitchen sink, and what we're trying to relate is that these things are normal. Okay, very
They
very
are
normal.
normal.
Yeah.
They are definitely normal. And and this is, I think, that what I love, what you're doing, and it's funny how people have different perspectives on things, but you're just being Ray. You're going out in the world just talking to people. It's not like a formal research. I mean, you're doing your own thing. You're just talking to them, but you're encouraging people to speak about these things as though they're normal, because they are.
Yes.
This is our natural state to work in the we are spiritual by nature. We can't help it. We just happen to have these vessels. They do hold us back. They require a lot of work. You got to feed it, bathe it. I mean, sometimes they don't work right. I mean, but we are spiritual beings. So that's our birthright. And you're encouraging people to see also the magic and the life that we're here for, that we can recall. Well, I mean, there's so much, but that we can recall right now. But you're making these things normal, and I love that, because to me they are more normal than I don't know, the general boring conversations people have. This is, to me, normal. This is who we really are.
As you know, once you've had these experiences, you realize that you are an eternal spiritual being. Okay.
Yes.
And it's not a belief, it's a knowingness. Once you've had an
It is.
NDE, it's like it's not a belief anymore. I know, and
Right.
so this is who we are. And so what I'm trying to do with this new book is, from both an academic perspective and from an experience perspective. From the academic perspective, we're trying to show that all of these experiences, which we're calling the contact modalities, that we need to view them as one phenomenon, one common phenomenon, instead of separate and distinct things. Okay. And also, why, like the first questions that we had, because our reality, okay, is not what we think it is, because consciousness is fundamental. We're living inside a greater reality. And because of that fact, all of these experiences are interrelated via consciousness. They're multidimensional or interdimensional, whatever term you want to use. I don't care. Okay. Whether you want to use the term virtual realities or holographic realities, or whatever
Okay.
term you want to use, it's, we are living inside a greater reality. And we're doing that via the academics and the experiencers, because they are the example. These are people
Right.
that are having everything in the like everything in the kitchen sink. Okay, so how do you
Oh, thanks.
everything in the kitchen
Well, it's
sink?
true. We are having a werewolf hunter researcher coming on this month. It's true. That would include everything under the kitchen.
That would be the kitchen sink
And,
right there.
and the fairy lady. We're having a lady come on talk about who's a specialist in
Well, Dr.
fairies.
Melinda Greer, a medical doctor, she's saving children. What do you call it? The children born before their due dates. The COVID babies and
Really?
yes, this is a woman
That's
that works in a hospital,
fascinating.
48 hours a week. And
Wow.
this is a woman that's having all these experiences. She's had 3 Sasquatch experiences, 12 UFOs. 3 of them were up close, where twice seen by her husband, and they blocked out all
Wow.
the stars in the sky. 2 near-death experiences, and her second near-death experience, it was like raising the hypothesis that we're living in a virtual reality, because who
Right.
she was, of Dr. Melinda Greer, that entity, all that information was uploaded to like
Oh,
a
yes.
central computer. Okay. So what remained was just this conscious spirit without any sense of Dr. Melinda Greer, because that was already uploaded. Okay.
Well, we're so much more than whatever this name, this label we call ourselves.
Yes.
Real
Yes.
quick, I know last time you offered this, and you offered, I don't know if it was the first few chapters or the first
Yes.
book for free at, what was it, info@experiencers.org. I'm putting it
Well,
in the chat.
send it to my personal email,
Oh,
because
okay.
since last week, info@experiencer.org is not
Okay.
working. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
And the
So,
person that was
all right.
handling our website, so send it to my personal email.
All right. Let me grab
It's
that.
it's my
I got
first
it.
name.
I got it.
Yep.
I'll put it in here for the chat. And so
Yeah.
tell everybody what you're going to offer them for free.
For free. Okay. I will be offering over 450 pages from this thick book here, titled Beyond UFOs: The Science of Consciousness and Contact with a Non-Human Intelligence. And this was our 5-year academic research study of the UFO contact phenomenon. It had is based upon 3 surveys of more than 4,200 individuals from over 125 countries. And as you can see, it weighs 3.5 pounds. If you're tired, you can start doing some exercises and weights from it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I'll be sending
There you
450
go.
pages from this for free, and then I'll yes, that's my personal email account, and then I'll send you also a peer-reviewed academic research study, which is published in an academic journal, to let you know that this was real academic research that took
Wow.
place. And then I'll be sending information about my new book, titled A Greater Reality, and we have 5 co-editors. We have myself, Dr. Rudy Shields, who is a retired professor of astrophysics from Harvard. We have Dr. John Klimo, who taught psychology for over 45 years, himself an experiencer. Dr. Michael Grosso, who taught philosophy for over 45 years, himself also an experiencer. And Dr. Jeffrey Long, who's one of the world's leading NDE researchers, who you interviewed.
Yeah,
And
he's great.
these are the 4 co-editors of the book. And as I said, we're going to be hoping initially to publish it on Kindle, the 4 volumes. The first 2 volumes are written by academics and medical doctors. We have 5 medical doctors and like 20 PhDs. And that's the first 2 volumes. And then volumes 3 and 4 are articles by experiencers, okay, telling their whole life story from when they were young till present day, all of their experiences, and then what they believe in. What do they think this is all about?
Wow.
Um, so this is the experiencers are really the most important ones because they've had all these things in the kitchen sink. Okay, how do you study Dr. Melinda Greer? Alberto, the retired DA agent who brought down all these dictators and drug
That's
dealers
cool. That's
from the
cool.
Caribbean. Okay, how do you begin to research these people who've had all of these experiences? These
Well,
are sane people, logical people. These are not crazy people.
right.
So how do you get to
Right.
explain these hundreds of thousands of people all over the world like that?
You're absolutely right. And I think that has to do with, you're speaking to people and they're coming out, and people watching this are coming out to have this dialogue, because I am now having normal people come out that, share with me, send me emails of really amazing experiences, but they don't really have a safe platform to talk about it. Except for here, you can. Rey Hernandez group, you can, with who's the director of what is it, Consciousness and Contact Research Foundation. So of course with him you can, but this is becoming more of a normal thing. Now I know this is your birthday and I don't want to take too much of your time. If you want to, join the live chat, we do have to end off to go to the members only live chat. So I want to thank you so much. And you're always welcome here. I mean, there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but then I get so hung up on your stories that I just want to just follow. I just want to just listen because they're just so amazing. But thank you so much for your time. And yes, and also Spiritual Awakenings International.org, which I'm, the channel's an affiliate, but also Rey Hernandez has been on there too, and you can see
I'm
his.
actually on her board. Yvonne
Oh,
Casey's
I didn't
board.
know that you joined the board. Okay, so I'm on the advisory board and the marketing chair. So really, what you just joined? This is something I didn't know.
Oh,
Cool.
this was a long time ago when she was first starting.
Really? Are you still on the
Yeah.
board? Okay. There's a board meeting this weekend. I don't know if you're
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it's a great group and it's full of experiencers and they're free. And you can see Ray's one of his talks on there that it's free.
And Yvonne is a classic example.
Oh gosh,
She's
I love her book.
Near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. Okay, she's seen tons of deceased people, ghosts and spirits, and people don't know she's also had UFO experiences.
Yeah, she's told me. Yeah, absolutely.
But she doesn't talk publicly about that. Okay?
No, and a lot of the NDEs don't. The fact that I'm coming out saying stuff, I don't know how that's going to go. Either this month with all these star seeds on and UFO people, either the channel really will go or people are going, what are you doing?
Well, what it is that the UFOs experiencers are seen as people with a tinfoil hats on. There's very little legitimacy about the phenomenon.
You think that's what it is? Well,
yeah.
And also, I recommend her book, Dr. Von Kaysen Touched by the, and I spelled that wrong, light. Sorry, I'm in a hurry, but you get the point, because that's a phenomenal book, and it goes into many of her experiences, and as well as Kundalini awakenings. It goes through the whole spiritual realm, except for the UFOs isn't in it, but everything else is in it. It's a lot of stuff. It's really, it was a good read, and I thought it was written well. I read a lot of books, and she thought that was funny when I told her. I said, your book's written well. She thought, I don't know why she thought that was funny, but it is. It's a very easy read. Well, look, Ray, I'll see you soon in the chat. Look, everybody, you can log in if you want to. I'm going to log in, but I'm going to run to the girls' room, and then I'll see you on the live chat on Zoom with Rey Hernandez. And everybody, thank you for watching, and happy birthday, Ray, and I'll see you in just a minute.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Bye-bye.